But like I said, down to our Final Four. I can't wait to see how this breaks down. And as we see a few of our POIs on screen, I don't know, when it comes to the semifinals, we've been seeing, quite a bit of the Tilted Towers drops. I think Floating Island has been there almost every time. I don't know, based off what we're seeing from the initial drop, we're going to be seeing Voxie and Voxie and Trick both making their way there. Same thing for KsoNNN.
Yeah, Voxie, Trick, doesn't surprise me. Floating Island was their area that they went to when they had that nice lead in game number 1. They're going to be heading there once again. I don't know what it is about Floating Island, but I guess it's considered like sort of a hot shot. But like I said, it's honestly really navigatable. If you know how to navigate it, you become considerably well. These guys have a lot of skill. The competition that usually lands there isn't too extreme. Now, I hope nobody gets dropped right off the bat, because then I'm going to look like a fool saying that. But typically, it's pretty easy to navigate it, pretty easy competition. You come out with a couple of eliminations, and then you can go ahead and push over to a different area. Both sides, though, are going to get some knocks. Elimination now coming in for Bolt, Trick. But, yeah, it's going to be a good game. I expect this to be very close all the way to the end.
Yeah, got to make sure that your teammates are up, because if you were to see an exit, that would be very, very unfortunate, especially at this point in the game. But just like that, 120 damage done with a common tack? Mine doesn't do that, but I guess it does whenever you hit a headshot. That player is going to go ahead and have a headache on the way to the respawn screen. But despite that, though, that's going to be 2 early ones found from Trick. A great way to start off this semifinals.
Tell you what, that common tack has been surprising me lately. Anytime that I get it, I'm extremely happy. And sometimes I will prefer a common tack over a green pump. Call me crazy, because I know that's not the typical strategy a lot of players like to do. Hey, they want to go with their green pump. But for me, I kind of like that extra added security of having those extra shots that you can just kind of fire. You get a headshot or a couple of headshots, that player's down. So for me, a common tack's been making me pretty happy as of recently. But it's kind of weird, too. If I find a blue pump on the ground, I'm going to prefer that over a blue tack. So I'm just conflicted all around. Sometimes I'll choose a double barrel. You know, when it comes to shotguns, it's kind of just all over the place. But I will say this, though. The heavy shotguns are very powerful, it seems.
One thing that I just noticed, I think it was for Voxie and KsoNNN, they both were opening a chest, and I've been noticing this over time, and I recently saw, I forget who it was, but someone was making a YouTube video on initial drops in Fortnite, and it was the topic of saying whenever you land in places like Tilted Towers, you want to make sure that you're not the guy opening up the chest. Reason being is that a lot of the times your pickup weapon is also your pickup key is also the same key that you use to open up, items and whatnot. And so it was really interesting to hear that topic being brought up, because a lot of the time whenever you are opening those chests, the person who's not grabbing that loot, or rather not opening the chest, has the opportunity to grab the loot a lot quicker than you do. In that situation, we saw exactly that. 2 players both not wanting to go ahead and grab the chest, rather waiting to go ahead and have that loot pop up. But it looks as if the loot could be sprawling out, if it would be a few eliminations that can be found here from Trick. Finds one, and then will finish off the second. Going to grab some much-needed resources as this player just in front of him,
that's what I'm telling you, right
has
there.
the pumpkin launcher, opens up the window, and waves goodnight and goodbye to that opponent as well. 3 of them found, as that's now going to be 5 for the controller master himself. Trick representing Bolt very well, as much like his teammates in the bottom side of the bracket, Jorbear and Gaffo. 3/4 of the teams, or rather 2 of the teams, 3 players composed rather, are all going to be from Bolt Esports. Great to see them having continuous solid performances in the Sunday Showdown.
You saw that 134 damage from the headshot with the common tack. That's why I prefer it. I love it, but some dangerous situations happening here. We'll see if this player will be able to get out of it. I do believe that is in fact going to be KsoNNN. And there it is. An elimination is going to come through as his partner is able to help him out just a little bit. Lazy Links in a dangerous area, but look at the laser beam, ladies and gentlemen, taking out that player on top. He didn't stand a chance. And I do think it's safe to say they have one over Lazy Links, but no, player coming in from the side. Very sneaky indeed. They're going to split up, trying to get a little bit of extra distance, and yep, there it is. Great teamwork. They're going to get rewarded with a slurp juice, some bandages, as well as a med kit. They're looking solid. We'll see where their next push is going to be.
Yeah, phenomenal stuff really coming in from either side at this point in the game. KsoNNN Co., like you mentioned, it looked a little bit like they had won over Lazy Links, but you can never be too confident when it comes down to Fortnite. Players could be hiding in multiple locations, and not even just when there's one player alive, but sometimes a random straggler could be hiding. A rogue player could be roaming around in even the golf carts from time to time. But speaking of roamers, we do see the launchers being brought out, or rather not just the launchers, but as well as the Flying Kites, as it will be a nice few eliminations coming in, as the Rift to Go could also be utilized here from Trick, as they are kind of just on the edge of the circle, and with finding these elims, they're probably going to go ahead and call it quits from this location, saying, hey, it's about time we move on, it's about time we start to progress, because it looks like the player count is starting to become a little bit slow.
I was loving seeing that. I don't know if you noticed that, but the engagement that Trick was just in, the player that he dropped down on meant to pull out a weapon, pulled out the grappler and tried to shoot him in the face. And, yeah, grappler's
not a clinger, buddy.
No,
Sorry.
it's not. The grappler's not going to do any damage. In fact, it's going to bring you closer to your impending doom, especially when Trick has a shotgun aimed directly at you. But, man, just as we suspected, this has been a very high-octane, high-paced match. These players have been rotating through the map. They've been finding players left and right. Look at that shot with the heavy sniper. Another player just up ahead. Actually, in fact, one's going to be on top of the hill. Watch out for those clingers. You definitely don't want to get stuck by those or hit. It causes a lot of damage.
It does, in fact. That sniper rifle, very influential, and decides to go and take down the builds, realizes that there's someone trying to go for the res. He's been found out. The squad could be ruined, but at the same time, though, Trick is down. The pumpkins start to fly toward the head of KsoNNN. I don't know if I'll ever say that again. Despite that, though, desperately needs to try to round back, as it looks like Trick is down for the count, and KsoNNN EkujukE will only receive the benefits from it. Spots the legs. His player desperately trying to jump over those sniper rifle shots as they whistle past his toes. But unfortunately for that squad, they are out. They are done for. But that is a full squad wipe coming through. Fantastic stuff from KsoNNN Co.
Yeah, this has been one of the better rounds that we've seen all night. These players are just going back and forth. Loving when I'm seeing Voxie top right on your screen as he's trying to get something going to keep his team alive. By Pleasant, kind of rotating around. He's going to use one of these rifts and kind of gets a little bit of extra distance between him and maybe his opponents. But his teammate did die with 6 kills, so he's sitting at 2 himself. So that's 8 eliminations. So even going into round number 2, they're not looking too bad. But as I say that, EkujukE and KsoNNN are picking up elimination after elimination.
Look at this, though. Right now on Voxie's screen, he has on the horizon 3 players who are also in gliders as well. And it would be very smart. I was going to say, try to single out the lone man, as it looks like he does. Use that scar very well. Doesn't miss a bullet. My goodness, that is phenomenal stuff to see. As we're going to go and take a look at the vision of Trick, as he's going to be looking at Voxie himself. Going to see some probably nice reactions as it looks like the edit comes through. Here comes the scary pumpkin. Wolves live to see another day, but how long will that day be? Pulls out the pen and paper, decides to go to work, and it could be another elim that he adds toward his book, and he will do exactly that. Phenomenal stuff from KsoNNN, man. What he's able to realize that there's 3 players in front of him, silences out the lone man, and then over time decides to take those players down progressively. But that's what you got to do when you are in situations like that.
Yes.
What a fantastic stuff from KsoNNN in that position. As I think I was actually calling out KsoNNN earlier in that fight in a 1v3. That was actually Voxie. My apologies. But despite that, though, we're seeing both those players go off in their respective situations.
KsoNNN doesn't miss a shot, does he, Landon? He is just dinging them. My name's KsoNNN, and I hit dingers. That's exactly what he's doing at this point. EkujukE, too, is a great compliment as he is able to pick up quite a few eliminations himself as they are just running through this lobby. Getting back on board with Voxie. Of course, we're watching his POV through Trick. Doing a great job doing those defensive floors. Tfue kind of popularized that. You take a shot and you place the floor down. You take another shot and place the floor down. But he's not doing too bad. Just being by himself at this current point. As we're just going to kind of go through. Voxie sitting at 6 eliminations. Not too bad himself. And we know his partner was sitting at 2, so that's 8. But back to the quad feed to kind of see what's going on. Shadowstone in hand, and they're just going to kind of relax a little bit. This is the slowest part of the map that we have seen as of yet. I know that the first at least, 6-7 minutes was insane.
Definitely was. Also want to bring up that the Legion Sunday Showdown is sponsored by Lenovo Legion, a series of gaming desktops, laptops, and cubes with unmatched performance and clean, purpose-built designs available at Lenovo.com/Legion. As we dive back into the action, it seems as if Voxie in a very precarious spot. One player just in front of him, and he decides to put the trap down, and it will fully take down this opponent. It is going to only be a knock, so that means that there are players still roaming. There's only players still alive, and these teammates are frustrated. They are angry. And it looks as if he will collect the loot, I think, from both of them. I'm not sure if he actually fired a bullet or if that trap actually takes down 2. Regardless, though, he'll receive the loot from it. And that's going to be a nice little play from Voxie. Rocks the shockwave grenade, and that's going to be some nice mobility that he gains as well. Fantastic stuff coming through from him.
Yeah, not bad whatsoever. Voxie, 8 eliminations, 6 for Trick. Pushing up and trying to see what's currently over in retail area. One of the areas that I don't like too much. 12-14 current score. I do believe KsoNNE are currently down, but only by 2 eliminations. Not too bad. Not too bad. So going into round number 2, they're definitely going to have a big, not too bad. But with that being said, for Voxie to be up by himself and still maintain that lead with Trick, that is huge. That's absolutely huge, and what you want to see, especially from your partner, is we'll get on board with Juke. You hear the call-outs coming out. 1 down. They're going to be pushing him forward. KSON, they're going to – actually, it's going to be a little sandwich here as this player has no chance. He goes straight in on him. That's going to be 1 drop. Of course, that's only a knock, where the rest of the players remain.
And the loot starts to fall down, and they immediately are calling out exactly where the final few players are, realizing that this is a very close game no matter how you split it. And these emblems are very, very important. Like you mentioned, the communication coming out as they will dive down just toward the northwestern side of Dusty Divot. 2 players around, the shots being exchanged. KsoNNE finds 1, and it looks like it will be Juke who finds the second. 3rd player around. They want to try to steal this,
nice.
And it will be Juke who walks away with 2, as there's now only going to be 1 player left alive. Fantastic communication and great teamwork being utilized from KsoNNE and Juke in that 2v1 situation.
We knew this round was going to be close, and it's living up to that expectation. 16 eliminations on the left, and just about, 16-16 currently. That's a huge round. That's 32 eliminations for this game alone. One of the slower lobbies that we've seen, but man, did it pay off for these teams. Of course, able to get a lot of eliminations. Now they're going to be just dramatically going for this last player. And that means one of these teams is going to be going into game number 2 with a potential 1 elimination lead. Might as well be 0-0. So a lot going to be riding on the line, especially here for this is going to be a $3,000 match essentially. Whoever goes to the finals is guaranteed $3,000. So a lot riding on the line, and all these players want to make it to the finals, and you can't blame them.
Definitely can't. Looking toward the structures, we could be seeking another hide-and-seek champion. There's a lot of trees to hide around. And one thing that is going to be nice in the situation for KsoNNE and Juke is that they are going to have that element of having 2 players, right? The ability to have twice as many eyes as the opponent. And thankfully with those Shadow Stones, they're also going to give them quite a bit of that mobility. Can also rock the bunny hop from time to time as well, depending on where you are throughout the map. But it's always fun, like you've been talking about constantly throughout the tournament, Taylor, is that once you just build these ramps, it's so funny to see how many of these are throughout the map. For those who haven't been seeing too much Fortnite as of recently, which how have you not, the new recent addition into the game is that you now have the glider redeploy. So once you go up 10 meters, no matter how you fall, the glider will always pop up, and pretty much, fall damage is no longer a thing in Fortnite for the time. So there are going to be quite a few ramps displayed throughout the map. As you can see, at least, I would say, 15 on the screen there, and just a quick little turnaround. But despite that, though, this player could be on one of those ramps himself, also trying to find out these last 3 players. And most likely for him, it's not going to be a fun 1v3 when you've got talent like this left alive.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough 1v3 situation. And but for the most part, like I said, it's not going to change really the match too much, because it's only 1 as long as this player doesn't get eliminated by the storm for whatever reason. Crates area, I believe that's KsoNNE. He'll be dropping down, and
It's not Indiana. I have Matt.
Indiana. I've never heard that call out before, actually. He's not Indiana. I wonder where that's at on the map. That's an interesting call out.
Maybe that's like a geographical type call out. Like maybe at this point in the map, it would be where Indiana is. And I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm really just
never
trying
heard
to
that call out.
try to get it out there. I don't know, but you can hear the call out saying, "Is this guy shooting RPGs for a reason? Are the pumpkins being brought out for any particular spot?" It doesn't look as if that's the case. Maybe just getting somewhat of an idea to try to clear out a few of these crates, but it looks as if for now,
did you go far side yet?
Pulling out a few of those builds to try to survey the area.
As we do have a replay, we're going to be watching. I'm curious to see what it's going to be. Just got tipped off that we're going to be seeing this. I love the production coming in, and look at this. Some nice eliminations from KsoNNN. That's one of them. Just chilling. You love to see it. That is always the best.
Billy, come get some dinner.
But not. That's also a scary situation too, at least from my perspective, watching that, because I'm always expecting it. You know, of course, you see those memes, you see those tweets, and funny moments where the player's just chilling, and then he just snaps on you and just shoots you in the head, and then all of a sudden you're down. So, man, that was a great clip from the production. And finally, it looks like the hide-and-seek is over. They have seen him. Shots fired. And, yes, it is, in fact, going to be KsoNNN. He's going in on the attack, looking to get that one elimination lead. As both of them – that's actually Juke. Juke is going to drop down. He's going to get it. But still the same result for KsoNNN.
The Wukong King is just like, I don't know what to do with my hands. Like, I don't really know what I'm supposed to do here in this situation. But my man, wow, man. That was, what, a ton of elims. I know we're going to have those all added up when it comes down to the
only
final
one elimination
card,
going into round 2.
Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting one heading into the second map. But like you talked about, you were even discussing this quite a bit. You were saying, this one should live up to the expectations. We've seen some early exits. We've seen players go down fairly early. When it comes down to these 4 players, these 2 teams in particular, we know what to expect with their play, especially from prior weeks. Despite them both being qualifier teams, they've been here multiple times in the past, and they're absolutely going to favor their lives a lot of the time, along with finding those eliminations, which what we talked about. What a ton of eliminations come throughout this game. They're all pretty much alive toward the end of it, and heading into game 2, 1 elim game. Basically a tie game heading into this next one.
Yeah, I mean, it essentially is. So with that being said, Floating Island, I think all 4 are going to be going to that same exact spot. I couldn't imagine them going Tilted, but hey, you never know. We've been seeing that throughout the entire night. Tilted as well as Floating Island has been really the only areas they've landed.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other landing spots. What have we seen?
I think once we saw Pleasant Park, but it was like quickly, like not focused on whatsoever. Like they immediately left that area to go toward Floating Island. So I don't know what's in the water right now, but everyone just loves going toward Floating Island.
Yeah,
it's like Tilted Towers, Floating Island. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen too much retail. Like I know retail is a very popular POI for a lot of people, but a lot of the times when you're down in games, we've been seeing people go toward Floating Island, despite being down in games. And maybe a few days ago, or a few weeks rather ago, Floating Island really wasn't that much of a target. Granted, it was on a different location in the map, but despite that, though, it seemed as if it was like a 1-week wonder, right? It was like 1 week we saw players go to Floating Island. From there, pretty much you go toward the retails, Salty Springs, the Tilteds of the world, but I don't know what it is about this week, man. It's pretty interesting.
It definitely is. I'm sad that we haven't seen any Valhalla. That's one of my favorite spots to go, especially if I'm playing in any competitions. Love the rotations out of there.
I will say for Gaffo and Jordberry, that is one of their favorite locations to go as well.
I don't blame them.
If they do make it to the finals, which we are going to be spectating the finals, of course, we could be seeing Valhalla. So you never know, man. We could see some Valhalla come out of those guys.
I do love Valhalla. I think it's a great rotation out. The competition that usually lands there is just like Floating Island. It's not typically too good because a lot of the good players will be going in Tilted.
Yeah.
They're going to be going Floating, or not Floating Island, excuse me, but like Salty and areas like that. That's where you really get your try-hard. So typically the competition is a little bit softer over towards Valhalla. So one of my favorite places.
A bit of a lower speed, right?
It is a bit of a lower speed, which
works
for me. It works for me. And you do get a considerable amount of loot. And not to mention, too, if you're playing into zombie mode, Fort Nightmares, there's a couple of terminals over there that you can have the opportunity to just go ahead and safely eliminate them. And of course, if you don't get eliminated by the zombies, which you shouldn't, but if it does happen, it does happen. And then, of course, you can get some nice little loot. But
maybe if you're in a boogie bomb, you can have a little nice dance party.
Which were you? No, it wasn't you. We were playing. We were playing, and man, you can actually make the zombies dance.
You can, yeah. I was watching Ninja actually play a few days ago, and he had an entire zombie horde on his back. And he was like, you know what? I'm just going to build up really quick, toss up this boogie bomb, and I have never seen more characters on the map at one time.
That's awesome.
Literally just start, you know, I guess you say kind of doing the Carlton dance. I don't really know what you'd consider that to be, but it was a sight to behold, that's for sure. But heading into Game 2, 1 elim difference. You could argue 1 game to close this one out. Will we see KsoNNN and Juke make their way toward the finals, or will we see Voxie and Trick make their way to potentially face off against the winner of Jorberry and Gafo versus Dios and Flying Mad? It all comes down to this, a very interesting one at that, and it seems as if everyone's focus will remain on what has seen them success so far throughout this entire week. It is going to be Floating Island yet again.
We're going Floating Island. Like you said, this is insane.
Rare.
We have literally
so rare. Wow.
We have literally seen this over and over and over again. But a blue SMG, that's exactly what you want off the start for Voxie. That's not too bad. As already, first knock is going to happen.
Don't do it.
That was
gosh.
You know, that pistol from a long range, maybe even the bolt action. Oh, he's got to hit this. No, he doesn't. I was surprised, especially since the player was standing so stationary. But it's going to be chaotic off the start. And, of course, we know it slows down just a little bit as they'll probably rotate out either towards Dusty Diner or maybe even towards Tilted. That seems to be the rotation so far. But they're going to get kitted up. If I'm either one of the players here, I'm trying to get as many eliminations, obviously, but I want to kind of separate myself, too, and go to an area where my opponents aren't at. I want to get those fresh eliminations. I want to get those fresh rotations started relatively early.
Definitely. And like I said, those rotations toward Tilted Towers absolutely are a thing and probably will be a play call from one of our 4 players. But it looks like if someone decides to go ahead and fade in toward the waves, they quickly will be crash on, as that's going to be elimination for Juke and KsoNNN, as they can add another one toward their impressive total to this point. But yeah, based on the zone, it's going to be kind of toward the southeastern side of the Floating Island. So
yep.
I guess it's hard to see based because we don't have a mini-map right now. Or actually, okay, so for Trick in the bottom right of our screen, you can see Tilted Towers going to be just on the edge of that zone. So you could definitely play that gatekeeping position. You could easily 3P a few of those plays as well. And that's great vision earned from Trick because he basically kind of goes around there, checks out to the tower, says, hey, probably not going to spot anyone. Maybe try to fade back as it looks like they spot no one inside Tilted. Now going to go ahead and focus our attention toward what would probably be Dusty.
Hey, look, I can call it, can't I? Dusty Diner or Tilted was going to be the rotation, and it seems as though Dusty Diner is going to be it for Bolt Trick. Already some engagements going down. They look like they're going to be coming into 3P, and there's nothing better than being the person on the positive end of the third-person engagement. But no, Voxie seems like he's going to get taken down, and hopefully he doesn't get fully eliminated. Trick coming in for the rescue, dips out. He was engaging on those players just on top. He's going to have to leave them alone. He's going to go for the hill out in the open. He's not going to build up. This is a very risky play on his part. Will it pay off? KsoNNN and Juke, they're going to be coming in to try and capitalize on these eliminations that are going to be around here. Trick, he's not going to waste any time. He's going on the attack.
Yeah, and I believe there was maybe a rift of some sort utilized, so they're going to try to use this to the high ground advantage, but it looks like the builds are coming through from Voxie. Trick ends up finding one at the same time, but a big moment for Voxie having a few of the enemies around him. The knockdown comes through from Trick, and they are going to try to form this 2v1 situation, decides to go ahead and pull up the grappler to try to finish off the kills, and he will find it. That's going to be a very big squad taken down, a very scary situation for Voxie, what's constantly at low HP, but a big moment coming through from Trick as he will save the day and allow for the 4-man lobby to continue to progress.
I was really worried about Trick in that situation. Unfortunately, he missed a couple of his shotgun shots and dual pistol shots. I was for sure thinking, oh, he's going to be in a lot of trouble here, but a great recovery. KsoNNN and Juke doing exactly what they need to do, pushing forward into Salty. They're getting that distance, a great knock with the bolt or the hunting rifle, and he's going to continue on. He's third-partying. He gets another knock. This other team still going to be in an engagement with the other team that, of course, that they've been fighting. He needs to get advantage. If I'm him, I'm pushing up top blue. I'm coming up behind that player up top, but he looks like he wants his partner to kind of knock down some of the builds. Here he goes. This is going to be a testy situation. He's directly below one of the players. He's lost the high ground. How he gets out of this is going to be a very crucial point. Taking some shots from the top. Great use of the builds to get away from the SMG shots. Tags up one of the players, taking off some of his shield. That player's going to dip out of there. This is now a good positioning on their part, but he still has to be a little bit careful. We know there's a lot of engagements around, but this is a big opportunity for them to take the lead.
And high ground becomes a very important position even more in the game of Fortnite. Reason being is that whenever you'd have the high ground, the only problem as the nice shot comes through from KsoNNN, I think that was only 15 damage needed from the pump, but whenever you had high ground in the past, the only negative that would come from it was the fact of fall damage. That no longer exists right now, especially in week number 6 of Fortnite, so having that high ground means even more in the game for the time. But as they start to call out to try to figure out where these players could be roaming, it looks as if they could be spotted inside the kitchen as they're hungry for these elims, and just like that, a Dazzle will be taken down, and it looks like the few of the items of the kitchen will unfortunately slow down the progression for the time, but regardless of that, great stuff coming in from KsoNNN EkujukE as they continue on their aggressive display.
I'm very curious. This player pushes up to the roof instead of going down to the basement. Unfortunately, doesn't know there's a window right behind him, and he's going to pay for it as he goes down. What an explosive battle that was for KsoNNN EkujukE, but it pays off. That's putting them at 8 eliminations to Voxie and Tricks. What, 7-4? Or is that 2? I believe I was 7-4, but scoreboard's going to be updated relatively soon. But retail, here we are. We talked about it. Why aren't people going here? But they're going to be here.
Gosh.
Unfortunately for the man of Trick, you see the disappointment in his face. He was going in for the attack. He just looks so disappointed, Landon.
He does.
He's
like, really? Like, how did I get involved with this group of people? It's that seemed as if he got swindled into that particular play, but. He'll be following them, so that is at least somewhat of a positive. Based off these guys, or based off these players' positions, you could argue they're most likely going to be a duo team, and if he's careful, he could potentially take them down, and just like that,
where'd he go?
Only 31 HP, the knock comes through, and unfortunately for Iron Man, he will be probably not avenged in this situation, but just toward the backside of the mountain, it should be another elim here for Trick, and that is going to be not just 1, but 2. Nice double kill. That's going to lead into the 6 that Trick currently possesses, trying to hold on to what could be an advantage right now for this particular team.
100%. This is, again, coming down to the wire as eliminations are coming in. Look at EkujukE's screen. He is lasering some players. His teammate as well. As KsoNNN not doing too bad. He's lazy. Look at that. 4 eliminations for him, and that's yet another squad wipe. You talk about running through this map. They're not slowing down. EkujukE coming in. KsoNNN firing some shots from the distance to get that little support row going, and there it is. EkujukE's going to get it. He's going to capitalize. KsoNNN EkujukE looking solid. 5 eliminations for him. His teammate, I believe, sitting at a total of 7. That's 12 on the left. On the right, sitting at 13. A 1 elimination lead still for Voxie and Trick. It's still 1 elimination.
It could be 2, though, with this shot from Voxie. There is one player just in front of him, a few more bullets, and just like that, the knockdown comes through. And it looks as if for Trick, he's got so many players around him, it looks like flying nuns, to be honest with you. Need to be very, very careful. Only 72 HP, does not have shields on him, and that's why I said got to be careful. Thankfully, will fall down with the builds. Players desperately trying to find him. He is going to be in a position to probably be thirsted, and yes, he will be taken down, and then very unfortunate position along with the pickaxe. It is now all on Voxie. A very awkward spot to be in. Literally a 2 elim lead is all they possess, and if he were to drop, this game would be over. A big position for Voxie. All the spotlight is on him.
A big opportunity for KsoNNN and EkujukE. Now in a permanent 1v2, plenty of engagements. We know the lead that Voxie and Trick hold, at least at this point, is very minimal. EkujukE, KsoNNN on the attack. No, there's some players just outside of Salty. They know this is their opportunity. He has to connect these shots. That's going to be 1 knock as the player. It looked like he was just standing still. He's now going to be building up, trying to get that high ground. Looks like he gets it. Dropping down on the player. Got to be a little bit careful, though. Take some damage. 86 health. Still plenty to work with. Taking off some shield.
EkujukE's got to be careful.
RPG. He's got to get these thirsts. He's going to go down. He does have 3 knocks. His partner has to come in big. EkujukE goes down himself, though. But KsoNNN's down. Voxie Last up.
So the question remains, right? So there are players that are down right now. If those players get rezzed, I believe that's game for Voxie to win. However, he needs to stay alive. He cannot die in this situation because if there were to be a few thirsts that come through, that would be the advantage that Trick and Co would win the game. 20 HP, just survive, Voxie. Once these elims come through, you might be able to walk away with it, but it depends on whether or not the teammates go for the res. This is such an awkward yet a very interesting situation to be in, as it looks as if Voxie probably could be down 2 elims,
oh my
14
gosh.
HP, and is in a basement.
Wow.
And it looks like he will be taken down. We'll receive official word, but I believe it is going to be Trick and Co. who are taken down. That should be KsoNNN EkujukE who move on to the next round.
Oh my gosh, you look at the disappointment in Trick's face. That is...
I believe those players got rezzed. Oh my God, I don't even know.
I can't tell. I know our production's working on it. We'll get it the scoreboard relatively soon. I do think I'm in agreement with you. I think KsoNNN EkujukE just barely skated by to take over that lead. But it was close all the way to the end. We knew it was going to be a close one. We went into game number 2 with just a 1 elimination lead for, I believe, it was Voxie and Trick at a 1 elimination lead going into round number 2.
Yeah.
And now towards the finals, we're calculating it. But KsoNNN EkujukE had that 1 elimination lead, but I think they might have just narrowly skated by. But mind you guys, whoever wins this is guaranteed at least $2,000 more and their spot in the finals. So this is a big round, and I think we're getting official word. KsoNNN and EkujukE are in fact the victors, and they are going to be moving on. But what a show! Look at that, 32-30.
It's crazy.
Shout out to Voxie and Trick. What a round from them.
Yeah, like you mentioned, I mean, they had a phenomenal tournament up to this point. They made it, to a very far point, but just, like I said, just narrowly don't make it through. But like I said, massive props to Voxie and Trick. Definitely want to see that duo return because they were a powerhouse group who, like I said, I think this is Trick's first tournament, but this is Voxie's like second or third. Had high expectations for this team, and they absolutely lived up to those. But, yeah, we got KsoNNN EkujukE in the finals. Excited to see how those two wrap up. But the main question is to be, who are they going to be facing off against?
Sure.
It's going to be Jordberry and Gafo, who are currently facing off against Dios and Flying Matt.